Welcome back to Nelco Comics Cover Story. This is our second episode. Today we'll be talking about the cover from Amazing Spider-Man number 39, 1963. The best information I could come up with is this is John Romita and Mike Esposito. Romita doing pencils, Esposito doing inks. I don't know who did colors. Esposito is credited as Mickey DeMeo on this one. They both had really great long careers. Romita Senior lived from 1930 to 2023, and Mike Esposito lived from 1927 to 2010. They both worked on a whole bunch of stuff. Romita Senior did Avengers and Daredevil and Amazing Spider-Man and Fantastic Four. He did romance and horror stories before he got on with the hero comics. Esposito did tons of stuff. He did Amazing Spider-Man. He did The Flash. I think he was one of the creators of Metal Men. He worked on the Wonder Woman titles. He worked on a bunch of stuff. They both had really great careers. And if you have a favorite Amazing Spider-Man cover, older cover, it's probably going to be Romita, because he just dominated Spider-Man for while he was on it. This cover doesn't have a whole lot of action. It doesn't have a whole lot of movement. It implies previous movement in action and suggests future movement in action, but the static image we have of the current action, there's no motion indicators. There's no swoops on the bodies. There's no swooping motion indicators. Yeah, there's some exhaust, and the exhaust the smoke is moving around, but a little bit from the metal cable, but that's really not much. It implies that there was some kind of big fight, because Peter's clothes are all torn, but his mask is off, so now Green Goblin knows who he is, and he's supposedly just the implied upcoming action is they're going to fly around town so he can expose who Peter Parker is. And then there'll be a big fight and Spider-Man wins. Well, this is take two, so I'm completely lost on what I'm doing. This is a Bondage cover. I'm going to try to make every other episode a Bondage cover. And when you first think Bondage, you think bondage, woman, sex. That's not what superhero covers are in general. The Conan the Barbarian covers, yes, very much using sex to sell the cover. But the superhero comics, it's not the case. Even Wonder Woman, when she's tied up to something, it's a bomb or a missile or something, and she's tied up, and it's because someone's trying to kill her. Most of the hero comics are going to actually be male characters that are in bondage, that are bound. Like Mr. Miracle, he's an escape artist. This is number 3. It's a dirty copy, but it's number 3. But he's tied up. But he's an escape artist. He's always tied up or chained up or something. Now, bondage is not the same as imprisonment. Bondage is tied up or bound with handcuffs or chains or cables or ropes or something that holds you. Not a cage. A cage you're free to move around in, but the cage is holding you, but you aren't bound. Now, there is a cover that we have that's I don't remember what cover, I think it's Flash, I'm not sure, where somebody's in a cage, another character has manacles on, and they're holding the hero with the chain, so that's kind of a bondage cover. I don't consider a bondage cover something if it's someone's weapon. So the Absorbing Man, if he uses his ball and chain to hold somebody, that's technically a bondage cover, but that's his weapon. Like Wonder Woman's rope, if she wraps it around somebody, they're bound, but that may not be a bondage cover. This is my opinion on bondage covers. That's not necessarily the definition. So this is a bondage cover. This is Spider-Man bound by cables. It kind of looks like rope until you get up in close and you can see the striping, and then up here it's gray like steel. So I'm calling it Cable because Spider-Man would break rope too easily. He may not be able to break the steel cable. I think that Peter Parker would be able to get out of this because this appears to be above his elbows, and I think he's strong enough and flexible enough to have worked himself out of this pose. Now, in the comic, I don't know that this appears in the comic, and it probably doesn't because, face it, most of the time the cover is not a scene from the comic. It's just indicative of what happens in the comic. So, a Bondage cover. I'm sorry, I recorded this once and it didn't record, so I'm trying to remember how I said it before. As far as colors and details on this one, the details are great because we can even zoom in and see the separation of the teeth, the goblin's teeth, the tears on the shirt. But the color is, Marvel likes purple and green. Purple and green go together just fine, but you really don't see it out in the real world all that much. I don't see it out in the real world all that much. Maybe other people do. But they have the Hulk is green with purple pants or shorts, depending on Avengers 1, he's wearing his boxers. But then there's the purple man. The whole man's purple. Then we have the Parasite in DC is purple. Parasite in the frame with Superman's great because Superman's the blue, the red, the yellow, the bright primaries, and then we have the purple, which is a combination of them. And so they contrast well. So purple and green contrast well with the reds of most of the superhero costumes. I don't know why Peter Parker stole Bruce Banner's pants, but I have to wonder if they came already torn or if he tore them himself. I don't know why they gave Peter Parker green socks, but they gave him green socks. I don't know why. But notice that Spider-Man's costume is not blue. There may be there may be times often when his costume was shown as purple, but it's supposed to be blue. And so you may be purple in some, but I don't know why they would do purple when it's supposed to be blue. It's always supposed to be blue. You think Spider-Man red and blue. You don't think red and purple. So I don't know why they went with that color choice. It's not it might be a mistake, but there's continuity in the mistake because all three sections that we can see are purple. So I don't know why they did that. But Bruce Banner's pants, they probably came pre-torn because Banner's pants are always torn. I think this is kind of a throwback to Amazing Fantasy 15, where Spider-Man swinging through the air this other direction, holding a bad guy. Well, now we have the bad guy sweeping to the right, to our right, holding Spider-Man. Kind of a throwback. At least it seems like it. I don't know if that was intentional. And again, if you haven't seen the first episode, please note my camera's up here, my computer screen is down here, and my notes are over here. So I'm looking all over the place and not necessarily at the camera. On the cover, there is no key moment. In the issue, there is a key moment, but on the cover, which is all we're worried about here, there is no key moment. There's no unmasking. Peter Parker's unmasked, but we already know who Peter Parker is. The audience knows. So this is not the first appearance of the Goblin. He appeared in episode. I'm doing so well today, I'm telling you. He appeared in issue 14 of Amazing Spider-Man first. And of course, Spider-Man first appeared in Amazing Fantasy 15. So there's no key moments on the cover. There's no surprises. It kind of hooks you. The hook is Green Goblin's going to kill Spider-Man by tying him in steel and dropping him and exposing. But Spidey's going to win. There's never any doubt. But there's not a lot of action. There's not a lot of motion. The big yellow text and then the purple and green guy below it is what attracts you from across the room. But there's no motion to attract you. There's just not a lot to it. It's not packed. It's not compact with a bunch of stuff like Avengers #1 had 6 characters in it. and this one's just kind of there. They like binding up Spider-Man and or throwing him off of things. They do that frequently. Well, this is one. There's not a lot of action in this. I think this one could have been done with more motion implied or action implied. It's just kind of there. It's not. He's not even swooping through the air with the swoop marks that you see on the covers. But it's a great comic. I love the colors. I love the Romita's work. And again, if you have a favorite cover from the old runs of Spider-Man, it's probably going to be Romita's work. So there you go. We will be seeing you. Don't forget Nelco Comics. I'm doing so well. Nelco Comics here in San Antonio, 1134 North Flores. We have the best selection of old comics in San Antonio, possibly the largest selection of old comics in San Antonio, and certainly the most fun environment to come in, sit down, and visit with us. We have a video game, we have a jukebox, we have all kinds of, just come in and sit down and visit. We love to talk comics. If you come in and talk comics, you're liable to be here all day long, which wouldn't hurt our feelings. Come down to San Antonio. Go to nelcocomics.com if you're not in town. A lot of the comics on the wall behind me, which you really can't see, are on the website. More will be going up on the website as we get that done. So give us a visit, give us a like, subscribe to the channel. This is a new channel. We're just going to try to put a bunch of comic stuff up here for you. This is our first endeavor, and thank you for watching.